Welcome back. This is part two of the series that I introduced last weekend. It is a respectful examination of TFM's perspectives, and if you'd like to know an overview of what to expect, you can watch that video from last weekend. This is part one, as promised, and it is everything that TFM does right. I wanted to make a separate video focusing on what I agree with him about, what I would be okay with a teenage son, if I had one, following and believing, based on what TFM suggests and says. What's up with my frog's left eye? Hold on one second. So I took some notes, and in no particular order, I'm just gonna let it rip. So, first and foremost, TFM has female nature down pat. All right. For 98% of everything he says, I couldn't agree with more. The guy obviously has been studying and researching this for several years now and putting all kinds of awesome content online. If he is talking about female nature, I would put money on everything he's saying. My life experience, everything I've seen from friends, mirrors precisely what he talks about. So when it comes to female nature, yeah, I totally am down with just about everything he says. And in my humble opinion, so should every other guy listening to his content be. Economics. It seems like he does this professionally to some degree, or did in the past, because he obviously knows a lot about finances, how to invest, how to diversify your portfolio. And he also mentions that, hey, go find a good financial planner. Don't just listen to him. Get somebody who knows what they're doing and who is invested in your success. So he points to the pros at the same time as when he gives advice, quote unquote. Let's see. Now, a lot of people will say that, just side note, that a lot of the things he says about female nature originally maybe from other people. Fine, whatever. Like Stardust and Barbarossa, who I've listened to extensively for hours and hours. I just binged on their material as well early on. But that's okay. TFM puts his own original spin on it. He adds the uniqueness of his life experiences to that material, and I enjoy that perspective. So I'm down with that. TFM doesn't think men should get married. Couldn't agree more. Gets it totally right. Don't have kids unless you live somewhere with a patriarchy, with some fairness in the judicial system where you're not going to get divorce raped. A divorce rape is, I would bet my life, is far more damaging and lasting and traumatic than an actual rape. Just my 2 cents. TFM came up with the concept of being and claiming to be a masculine presenting transgendered lesbian. The first time I heard it, I thought it was hilarious. I even shared it with my friends locally, and they thought it was hilarious, and it's totally true. He believes in out clowning these socialists, these communists, the SJWs, the LGBT left, who are taking everything to an extreme and want nothing to do with equality of the sexes because they want women more or less to have a dominant position in the justice system and economically, with the police for sure, in all ways, in things like alimony and child support, obviously. So I love his sense of humor. The guy makes me laugh so much, and if you make me laugh in this life, man, I'm on team you. A lot of his co-hosts and whatnot, from Discord, when he's streaming, I'm laughing all the time, and they're not. It's crickets. I don't get it. I don't know. Our sense of humor just kind of jives. But I mean, he's not perfect, but damn, the dude's funny. So he does try to base his opinions on facts. Not everybody can say that. Very few people actually give a shit about that. He claims he's willing to change his mind if new evidence comes in, or if he learns something new. And I don't know if I'd give him an A+ in that regard, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. He does not pick political sides. Yes, of course, he's not with the left, but he also criticizes the right just as much. This is not some Oh, I don't know. Louder with Crowder has a stance. Ben Shapiro has a stance. A lot of these guys lean right big time. TFM doesn't. He'll call out Trump just as often as he calls out Obama. He'll call out nonsense and bullshit wherever he sees it, for the most part. So, I like that about him too. Again, I would be down with my teenage son if I had one, going along with what he's suggesting and all these things I'm talking about. He does not want people to dox themselves on YouTube, and I couldn't agree with that more. Unfortunately, I had to dox myself, over the last couple of years because I wanted to escape a 1 year threat of jail over a nonviolent victimless crime. But I wish I hadn't. I wish I hadn't. I wish it wasn't required of me to do that, but it kind of was. I didn't really have a choice. I needed to put some pressure on people. Anyway, that's another talk for another day. Uh, TFM does not forgive betrayal. I don't think people should forgive, rampant and just open and just backstabbing betrayal. Uh, Even if it's family members, and sometimes especially if it's family members. If there's a member of his family that just isn't worth hanging around and wouldn't be his friend if they weren't family, he doesn't have anything to do with them. So many people stick around toxic family members for whatever reason. Mostly, I would guess, just a lack of courage to just do that. I have that in common with them. I have several family members that I haven't spoken to in years, almost a decade. Just I have no idea if they're alive or dead. And I mean I care, but they're just not they're just not worth hanging around or spending time with. They're not a good influence. So yeah, I like that about them. Now TFM agrees that anarchism is the most ethical form of social order. Cool. He's a bit of a pragmatist, definitely a pragmatist over ethics. So that's why he's a libertarian, right? What can I say about this? I agree with him that not everybody could be anarchists. Like the whole government, the whole country couldn't be anarchists because way more people than not have to take from others instead of make things for themselves in order to survive. It's just part of the human condition. Most human beings can't make it on their own. They don't they're not self-sustaining, they don't want to be self-sustaining, they can't be self-sustaining. So, you know, props for recognizing that anarchism, as unpopular and propagandized as it is in fact the most ethical form to do business. I'll talk in another video about the differences of uh, practically suggesting and supporting libertarianism over anarchistic ideals. Now, part of this I don't really blame him because every time I've heard him speak to someone on his show who claims to be an anarchist, that anarchist dorks up what anarchism is. 9 times out of 10, I don't think I've ever heard somebody actually converse with him about anarchy in a consistent and logical and ethical manner the whole way through. Most of them are just parroting what they've heard from other anarchy type talk they admired, and they want to be that same smart guy. And obviously, that happens with so many different topics. But yeah, can't really blame him there. Maybe someday I'll have that talk with him. Who knows? I'd like to, but again, I have no idea if he's going to hate me for the things I'm going to say in this series. But we'll find out. All right, he's willing to call out government corruption. Now, there's parts of the government that he supports, and I'll talk about that in videos where we talk about our differences. But what we have in common here is he will call out government corruption. He'll call out illegal wars. He is not just a 100% supporter of police and military action. He's called out the fact that the United States only engages in basically police actions to avoid the treaties that get attached when you formally declare war through Congress. Things like, oh, you can't torture people. You can't ship them off to Guantanamo Bay with no presumption of innocence or due process, and just hold them indefinitely. Okay, uh, what's that? Waterboarding is torture, straight up and down. The only reason why it was developed is because it doesn't leave a visible bruise for international cameras to see. You can't see the trauma caused by being waterboarded. If you really want a good idea of a very highly respected individual who once was very much for waterboarding and then became very much against it, look up Christopher Hitchens. May he rest in peace. He volunteered to be waterboarded, and he lasted not even 3 seconds before he quit and changed his mind, changed his tune totally, because waterboarding, thank God I don't know personally, is torture. So props to TFM for, even though he served 8 years in the Navy and did 2 tours in Iraq, he is not just 100% down with the program, like many brainwashed, unfortunately, quote unquote, service members are, not just while they're serving, but for life. For life. So it's good that he calls that out. He does not think that young men these days should necessarily go to college, and certainly don't go into debt. He's down with the trade schools. That's just good, solid advice. He's going to get his master's right now, and I guess most of his schoolwork has been online. So the guy's living what he's saying in most every way I can think of. Just giving him more and more props there. His content is overall outstanding. All right, it's very consistent. He's a workaholic and it shows. He does not have a whole lot of time for his personal life because if he's not at work, he's working on his channel. I respect hard work. Who doesn't? Right? He's dedicated. He doesn't take, 3 months off. Sorry, I'm burned out. I need to recharge. He keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. And there's no doubt that this man has helped. I don't even know how many men out there in the world. I can't even imagine. It's got to be in the thousands. And when I say helped, I mean help them realize some facts about reality and life that encourage them through their own will and smarts to make radical positive changes and directions in what they were doing. I don't even know how many divorces he's prevented, how many loss of child custody. I mean, I can't even fathom it. But the guy has drastically reduced a lot of needless suffering that would have happened if he had never decided to get on YouTube. I mean, he's obviously not the only MGTOW content creator, but you just have to tip your hat to the guy. Countless guys have called in and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, I don't even know who to put him on par with. He's definitely at the top of the MGTOW YouTube game. There's been maybe a dozen other really meaningful, impactful creators out there, and he's definitely one of them. He's got the best live show on in the world for this type of content from where I'm sitting. And again, the fact that he's hilarious quite often doesn't hurt at all. So just a great contribution. He's big into what's known as self-actualization, and this is kind of the maximizing of one's own potential through serving oneself first and kind of realizing that, yes, you have an ego. It can be very problematic. Don't fall into its traps. And hey, be smarter, be wiser, get your head above the sand, above water, and keep your cool, be stoic. He's down with some stoicism, even though can get emotional at times, quite angry and frustrated, which again just makes me die laughing. But he's big on that. He introduces people to not only the red pill, but to an awareness that serves men well, that is against the programming via media and culture that highly charged emotional reactions are a good thing, and the more charged you are, the more powerful you are. He's not down with any of that. Keep things in a proper perspective. Use moderation. Stay away from bad influences and don't be tempted by people who are trying to troll you. Get to a point where you realize what is and what is not a threat and respond accordingly. He said many times that one of the biggest lessons he took away from being in a combat zone, seeing people's bodies pulled apart, was that 99% of everything in life does not matter. Very, very few people feel and live that, not just say it. It's beyond true. He's down with being a minimalist. He's down with living life how you want to live it. If you want to get in an RV or a van and travel around, whatever it is you want to do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, he's down. So that's just a big and rare influence that I appreciate. I think that's about it. I took some notes and I think I covered all that. Yeah, I just wanted to make this quick video to, because I'm going to be criticizing him in the in the rest of these episodes, guaranteed. Not him personally, but I'm just going to be giving why I have counter. I don't not even arguments, just why I think differently and act differently. And I'm going to be challenging his assertions and claims through clarifications that may cast doubt on his conclusions. That fair enough? All right, think about got it. Thanks for watching. If you did, do not like, share, and subscribe. Just don't. If my content's good, it'll spread on its own. I don't care about YouTube algorithms. I've never made a penny from YouTube because they demonetized everything I did from day one, which was what 4.5 years ago. And at the time, I was owed like I don't know $1,200, and that was after like year one. And they just won't give me an account and won't respond to my emails, so I quit. I don't make any money off YouTube. I don't have anything for donations. I don't have anything for Patreon. If and when I get enough consistent material that is high quality, then maybe I will have something. We're going to be doing live shows and having Streamlabs donations just like TFM does because that's the best way to go about it. Maybe in the future I will, but as for right now, I don't. So I don't even worry about that. If this grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Quite honestly, well, 100% I don't want to be famous for my MGTOW channel. I don't want to be recognized. I don't want to be known because I'm going to be saying opinions that resonate with maybe 1/10 of 1% of all human beings, and that makes me a hated frog. And that's no good. When you're me, it's already isolating enough. So yeah, no worries there. I think that's about all I got. Anyway, yeah, stay safe and go TFM, man. I'm watching your show every Wednesday morning and Saturday.